afternoon, everybody. Today is, what is it, April 29th or 30th?
Isn't it the 30th?
Is it the 30th? Well, whatever it is. Welcome to the Average Dave's Movie and TV Talk, and this is our episode 26.
They don't care. They're not watching.
I know that, but we can still say it. Today is going to be our May the 4th Be With You special. But before we get into that, we're going to just a fair warning about our movie TV talk channel. We do talk spoilers. We do talk about politically sensitive issues. We are not politically correct about the entertainment industry. We speak our mind about the entertainment industry, and every so often some bad words might slip out, and more so from him, but every once in a while from me as well. This is our opinion, nobody else's. And always remember, entertainment is subjective, and that is what makes talking about it fun. Don't forget, if you have any questions, please comment in the comment section or reach out to us at theaverageDavesTalk@yahoo.com. Also, check out and subscribe to Okemo Valley TV on YouTube or at okemovalley.tv, and also on channels 1076 and 1086 on Xfinity Comcast. Again, this will be our May the 4th Be With You special for Star Wars, who we're both huge fans of the real Star Wars. Not so much the crap show that Disney has put out. I like it, the Disney Star Wars a little more than you do, but I'm still disappointed in them for the most part. But before we get into that, you said you wanted to talk about something that before we got into this.
Yeah, there's just a couple things. One, I watched a movie this week that I hadn't seen before. It's called Only the Brave.
I've seen it. I haven't seen it. I've seen it.
It was about the Granite Mountain hotshots.
Yeah,
it was a really good movie. You know, it's got Josh Brolin in it, Miles Teller.
Yeah.
It was a
I've
good
seen
movie.
it, but I've never watched it.
I saw like a couple YouTube clips on it, and I was like, "This actually looks like it could be pretty good." And it was on Paramount Plus, which I had. So watch that. And also, I didn't realize this movie was even out. The Accountant 2 is out now.
Is it out?
Yes, it's out in theaters. It came out the 25th, I believe.
Yeah, Accountant. The first one's good.
Yeah, I just watched that again, not even realizing that. I knew the second one was coming out. I didn't realize that it's out. So I'll definitely be going and seeing that probably next week.
Matter of fact, my wife and I just watched The Accountant again last week. That's the first time she's ever watched it. Ben Affleck.
It's really funny how you just make a very likable character. And the movie will take off. So that's something Disney still hasn't learned.
Yeah. And then you get Jon Bernthal, who I'm a huge fan of Jon Bernthal.
I love him.
To me, they'll never be able to replace the Punisher now because of him.
No.
It
would be hard, but it's just like almost like I couldn't imagine anyone else playing Rocky.
Right.
It's hard for me to imagine anyone else trying to play the Punisher now after him because he's just perfect.
He's
perfect as it.
And he's actually a good actor. He's been in a lot of other stuff, and I enjoy it.
Probably his biggest break was The Walking Dead when he was only in like the first season as
Shane.
Shane, that's it. I was just
then he was in that one movie with The Rock years ago too. Was it Snitch or something like that?
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, he was
in the first Sicario.
Yeah,
he was in Wolf of Wall Street.
There's a movie everybody should watch. Well, two movies, Sicario and Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, I mean he's
both great movies.
He's in a lot of great movies. Oh, he was just in Ford vs Ferrari, which I just watched again.
I've never seen that.
Really?
Yeah,
never
seen it.
Check it out.
Yeah,
good movie.
What else, real quick? Last of Us season 2 is out. I know you don't watch it, but you're into the game. I've never watched or played the game. Season 1 I enjoyed. Season 2 so far has been pretty good.
I played and loved the first Last of Us. I think everyone should play the first Last of Us. It was amazing. Don't bother with the sequel. It's all set.
But that's the difference here. I've never played the games, just like for what's the one that came out last year?
Star Wars.
The video game where they lived underground and she came out.
Fallout.
Never played the game, watched the show, and loved the show.
I've only played the Bethesda Fallouts. And honestly, the best Fallout since the Bethesda era started wasn't even the Bethesda one. It was New Vegas. And I know I'm not alone in that sentiment.
Anything else before we get into our
Disney?
Yeah,
I mean, this
is going to be a free-for-all type.
Yeah, last year was a bit funner, where we talked about George's Star Wars, real Star Wars, or the beloved Star Wars. This Star Wars,
Yeah.
which is the only collection worth having. Now, I guarantee, Dave, do you own the Skywalker saga?
I do.
Yes, thank you. Thank you
Why-
for
and
going.
why
and
is that?
giz-
Because,
thank you for going and giving Disney money.
Unfortunately-
thanking them for taking this wonderful franchise
And ruining it.
that George
I get it.
that George gave us,
But
and
unfortunately,
rewarding
I'm a completist when it comes to stuff, and it's the same in my comic runs. I have to have a run.
Yeah.
I have to complete
just
that
like you
run.
got Madam Web and what was it, Craven?
Craven. I don't have Craven yet. That'll come out when it comes out used. But you also got to remember, I buy these movies used, so I'm not giving money directly to Disney.
Well, did you get this? Did you get the Skywalker saga used?
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, at least there's that.
No. So yeah. No.
Oh,
Anything
also,
like that, I'll buy
there's
it
another
used.
thing, just in form of, as far as the entertainment in general. Bethesda released The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, and I really, really, really want to buy it. However, you can only buy it if you digitally download it.
I don't agree with that.
I want the physical copy.
Yep.
Because who's to say 10, 15 years from now, when there's not too many people playing it, they just shut down the servers. And now I can't play a game that I just spent $50 on.
Yep.
Like, I want the physical copy so that they can't, so that that's not an option for them.
That's the way I feel about. I have a pretty large Blu-ray and 4K collection.
Yeah.
I want the physical media. I don't want to
do I.
have something on somebody's server.
Yeah.
Somewhere that one day, like you said, done.
Yeah.
And you've just bought 100 movies on a server, and now they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you spent a lot of money on that. I want the physical movie. That's why I still have a bunch of old DVDs, which I'm gradually replacing into Blu-ray and 4K. Which some of them you can't because they haven't released them on that. But I have to have the physical.
Yeah. I don't want them to be able to take it from me. I bought it. I want something for it. I want something that I can hold in my hands.
More control.
It
More
is.
control they have over you.
Also, who's to say 10 years from now there's a scene in a certain movie that they don't like, so they go in there and they edit a few things.
They've already done that in movies.
If you have the physical copy, they can't do that. It's on there. It is on the discs.
They've done that to movies where
Yes,
they
they
didn't
have.
like something and they remove it.
So
They can't remove it if you own it, like you said.
Yeah.
So,
it's yours. Can't touch it.
so here we go. This discussion is going to be just a free-flowing discussion about Disney Star Wars. They bought it from George Lucas for $4 billion. I think it was $4 billion. What year was that?
12, I think.
2012.
Yeah, because the first movie came out in 15.
No, 16 was Rogue One.
No, first movie was The Force Awakens, 2015.
Oh, okay, right. Force Awakens. Sorry. It has been a.
Well, before we get into where it's at now, how did you feel then?
Well, I was excited when I first heard Disney because you like Disney. Okay, they've got the money, they've got the talent.
They were in the middle of one of the biggest film franchises ever released in the MCU, and it was banger after banger for the most part.
No, your thing. I thought, like I just said, they've got the money, they've got the talent, they've got the means in CGI and everything. And like you said, they're in the middle of Marvel. Marvel, like you said, was.
I mean, they had Marvel, they had Pixar, and they had their own in-house stuff.
Yeah.
And all of it back then was still excellent. They were still making really good animated stuff. They were still making really good live-action stuff. They were still making really good Pixar stuff. And they were making awesome Marvel stuff.
Yep.
So then they buy this, right? And they're putting it in charge of Kathleen Kennedy. And honestly, didn't know who she was. Didn't
But
really
she's-
care who she was. But
But
you would
she's
see her.
associated with
You
so
would
many
see
movies.
her in the credits of all the George and Spielberg movies.
all classic movies.
And you're like, all right, so she obviously
knows
like,
what she's doing.
if they're giving it to her, she obviously was paying attention and like, okay, good. Then she has learned from the best,
Yeah. Well,
and she's going to continue giving us this good stuff.
and it never happened.
Like,
In my opinion.
no, it didn't happen, and people were excited.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No,
they talk about now how Star Wars is the most toxic fandom. No, we weren't. And if we were, they wouldn't have spent $4 billion on the IP.
Right. I mean, when the first trailers popped for Force Awakens, I mean, that was at that time, I think, the most viewed trailer of all time.
Yeah, I think so.
It was, and people were like, holy crap. Star Wars is back. There's the Millennium Falcon. There's Han. There's Chewbacca, Princess Leia.
Was Luke even in the first trailer?
No,
Yeah.
but everybody
right, he
knew he
wasn't.
was going to be there.
Yeah. Except he wasn't.
But yeah, you saw that and everybody was excited. And then the movie came out.
The movie came out and made over $2 billion. People went back and saw it.
Because
It was a good movie. It had
it was
its
decent.
problems.
It was decent.
I
It's my second favorite movie of the Disney Star Wars.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to put them in order, that'd be my number 2 for the Disney.
I
Star
remember
Wars.
when I first saw it, I was like, "All right, yeah." I mean, it was pretty good. Like, I didn't think it was great. It didn't. It certainly
it's
didn't challenge anything that George did.
It's a rehash of,
But-
it's a rehash of Star Wars.
But with the ending,
Number one.
you're like, "Oh man, part 2 is going to be great because here comes our hero.
Yeah.
Here comes Luke."
And they're showing visions of. We'll get into that here. I mean, The Force Awakens was a disappointment to me.
Well, looking back at it now,
Yeah.
However, The Force Awakens from when it ended, and then Rogue One came out, and Rogue One was pretty damn good, and then the next movie came out. Like, if The Last Jedi lived up to expectations,
Oh, it would have been great.
The Force Awakens would be much
Oh, yeah.
held in higher regard.
Yeah, because I mean, The Force Awakens. I mean, to me, it was pretty much just a rehash of the original Star Wars, not the New Hope. Because everybody thinks that's the official name of it. It's not. It was just released as
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Then they did their revitalization of it and stuff, and they added the New Hope. So I'm just talking the original Star Wars. It's pretty much a rehash of that. You look at the storyline. Let's reintroduce our characters. We have a Death Star. We have to destroy the Death Star. What happened to Star Wars? We got introduced to the characters. We have a Death Star that's going to destroy the rebel planets. We have to destroy the Death Star.
Super Death Star. Everything has to be bigger.
Yeah, right.
Super AT-ATs and super
I mean,
ATSTs.
and one of the
and-
first scenes in the movie to me, I mean, you got introduced to somebody I thought was going to be a complete badass in the series, and Kylo Ren. When he comes out of the ship and he lands and he stops a blaster bolt midair with the Force, you're kind of like,
That's cool.
this dude's gonna be a badass. And that first scene where they just murder everybody around the fire, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, this could be good. And then as the series goes on, Kylo Ren turns out to be a snobby little shit, really. I mean, but you got to see the thing that you got to see Princess Leia again, Han, Chewbacca, R2, C-3PO. And then eventually you got to see Luke. So it was good being able to see all those characters again because you hadn't seen them in when was
83 was the last movie.
yeah, so that's the last time you got to see everybody together. These are these classic characters that Disney destroyed.
They never gave us a scene with Han, Luke, and Leia.
Yeah. They destroyed that legacy. That's why I can never put these in canon in my head.
No.
I just can't do it.
The only thing that I could say might be, and it even has its issues, is Rogue One. Like, if you were watching 1, 2, 3, and then you wanted to throw on Rogue One before 4, 5, 6, okay, fine.
I really enjoyed Rogue One.
Rogue One was an enjoyable movie. Its main character, however, was terrible. Jyn Erso. I don't remember anything about her.
No, I don't think she was terrible. I think the story
What
she was
about
there.
her is so memorable, though?
Yeah, but she was pushing the story, but everything around her.
Yeah, she was a story contrivance.
Yeah, so
That's it.
Yeah.
What's his face? Andor? Cassian Andor? He was a better character than she was.
Cassian Andor, and we'll get into that later.
The droid was a better character than she was.
What was that?
K2SO?
Alan Tudyk, yeah, K2SO.
The two Asian guys who used to work at the Jedi Temple, they were better characters than she
Yeah,
was.
no, I agree. Her character.
It's not that she was bad; it's that she was easily the worst part of the main
She was
cast.
driving the story
Yeah,
because
that's
it
all
all
she
involved
was.
her and her family.
Also, I have no idea what the character's name was. The like half human, half cyborg, played by Forrest.
Saucer.
Yeah, him played by Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
He was terrible. He sounded weird.
Well,
And
he
I
sounded
really,
weird
really
because
like
he had to,
Forrest
'cause
Whitaker.
he had so much mechanical stuff on him. So
He just
yeah, Saw Gerrera.
it just didn't hit with me.
But
And
you-
I really like Forrest whatever. It's just I didn't like.
I mean, you had Bail Organa on there, Jimmy Smits, who is a big part
Yeah.
of the story. But anyway, back to Force Awakens. I mean, the story. I mean, it had a great space battle. You know,
Force Awakens,
no, I'm sorry, Force Awakens.
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One.
Yeah,
the battle,
but it was
around-
too short.
Right. The battle
It
around-
was too short.
Yeah, battle
the
around
whole
Scarif.
battle scene was too short. And from what I understand, the director said that he had a much larger battle scene filmed, and they basically threw him out and re-edited the movie.
Because
So
the battle for Scarif was awesome. But
Yeah.
like you said,
it was short.
it could have went on another 10, 15 minutes.
It
if
should
people
have went
would've
on
just sat there.
another 10, 15 minutes.
Because it could have been Star Wars.
Give us a Star Wars where we actually see more of the wars.
And then easily Rogue One has one of the best scenes in Star Wars. The ending 3 minutes where
Darth Vader.
lands on the ship and
Yeah,
just
that was cool.
goes to town. And
That was
the
awesome.
that was actually one of the first time though you actually got to see Darth Vader as a true powerhouse, mowing people down. Because you didn't really see that in the first three at all.
No,
You at the end, you got to see the beginning of Vader in Revenge of the Sith.
which did you see where that movie was just re-released
made
for its 20th anniversary, and it made like its first week it made like 42 million.
A re-released
People
movie from
still
1983.
want- No, not from 1983, 2005.
Yep, sorry, 2005.
So people still want Star Wars, and Revenge of the Sith is easily the best of the prequels.
No,
So
Yeah.
so if you re-release the actual good Star Wars, it's still going to make money, and it's going to make more money than the woke crap that you're putting out.
this movie didn't cost them anything.
Nope.
They just re-released it. It made almost $50 million.
Which they'll. What the heck did they just release that was like $600 and something million, and it made like no money? It was like one of the Disney shows. It was
Well, I don't know. Last one they did.
was it Skeleton Crew?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The Scout. I only watched the first episode of Skeleton.
I was just
Crew and I
watching
stopped.
a Critical Drinker video, and he was talking about how this one show cost. No, wait, I'm sorry. I think it was Skeleton Crew cost like 130 something
Yeah,
million. It's like, where's this money going?
I watched the first episode. Had to stop.
I'm telling you, Disney has bought Star Wars and turned it from this beloved IP into just a money laundering thing for whatever funds the Democratic Party are trying to watch.
But you have to say they've made their money back. They've paid off that $4 billion on the movies.
I
because
would say no, because
Force Awakens was what, 2.2 billion.
I think Force Awakens just crossed over 2
Yeah, and then Rogue One was like 600,000.
million.
600 million, sorry. So you're at, we'll even just round it off to 2.5 billion. And then,
Last Jedi was like 1.6.
yeah, so you're right at that 4 billion.
Solo, but do you remember Solo lost money? Right there was like the big hashtag Solo
Yeah.
lost money. So they lost money on Solo, and The Rise of Skywalker just made over $1 billion.
Yeah, so they
yeah,
paid it off.
Not really, because on top of the $4 billion that they paid, they also paid to make all these. It's like, how much like did it cost them to make The Force Awakens? 300, 400 million? Plus double that to friggin' promote it?
Yeah, true.
So Rogue One, I mean, yeah, they made 600 million. I guarantee you they probably spent 200-300 million making it, plus, promotion.
But, going back to Force Awakens before we get back
And
into
all of
Rogue
these
One.
shows,
Oh, yeah. I have
most of them have lost them money.
Yeah, I'm not even counting the TV shows yet.
So yeah, I mean, if you just want to look at their movies and plus the $4 billion they paid, yeah, they might have broken even. But then when you get into all the shows, plus all the revenue lost from their toys not ever selling,
When you can go within a month or two and find the toys at Ollie's or
Yeah.
Big Lots, that
yeah,
tells you a lot.
they've absolutely tanked. They have tanked the value of Star Wars.
Go back to Force Awakens. I never liked Rey from the beginning.
Oh no,
Didn't like that character at all.
I liked Finn, but they didn't do anything with
Oh
him.
my god, he ended up being the biggest waste of
Do you remember
character.
on the poster for the movie? What did they have Finn holding?
Saber wasn't it?
They had him holding a lightsaber.
Yeah.
He never used one again during. No, wait, did he use one in the third movie?
No, he used that
Oh yeah, that stupid. Yeah,
Wyatt weapon or whatever they called it there.
Yeah, they had him use it in that movie and that movie only. Which, hey, if you have a character standing there holding a lightsaber, you think that this is going to be some sort of Jedi character.
No, I mean, Finn, I was like, okay. And then by the end of the series, I'm like, what a waste of a character.
What a waste of a character, and honestly, what a waste of a human being the actor is.
Oh, yeah.
Because
well, he's the one that came out and blamed white guys
yeah,
and white
so
fans.
screw
and
you,
stuff.
you racist piece of shit.
Yep, because he blamed us for
Yeah.
his failure in his role. But he should be.
Nobody
he
even
should-
blamed him.
Yeah, he should be turning around and saying, okay, blaming the writers,
Yes.
the producers,
Yes.
and not the fans.
Yeah, you blame the creatives.
Yes. but
It wasn't.
It's
It,
no-
it wasn't the fans' fault that you guys tried to push, this woke
crap.
agenda.
Yeah. It's no different than that Rachel Zegler from Snow White. She did the same thing. You hear what Pedro Pascal just said about people?
I mean, I can't say
Read it.
Pedro Pascal, but
Read it.
What'd he say?
He pretty much went off on people on the right again because he's a left guy, and now he's trying to push a big movie.
Yeah,
People are getting sick of these actors and actresses telling you what to think.
Pedro Pascal isn't that big. In fact, he became big in like 2012 or 13 in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones and then Mandalorian.
Yeah, and well,
I mean, that's his, but it's him.
yeah. Well, it's his voice.
Yeah.
It's not him in the
That
suit.
scene there where he actually takes his mask off, he forced Disney to do that because he wanted to be seen. But the Mandalorian
It was still a good
can't-
scene.
Yeah, well, it was. But yeah, The Force Awakens was a good movie. Rogue One, I enjoyed Rogue One.
Yeah, I enjoyed Rogue One
I
too.
think I like Rogue One better than you do. I would give it.
Probably.
I give it about a B minus.
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that we're both on the same page with like Rogue One. It was good. It had a lot of good stuff going for it. It could have been better though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It could have been better.
Yep.
It did have a lot of good stuff. It is the only thing that Disney's put out that I would say once somebody does finally come in and clean house with like Disney, go back and redo a Rogue One type movie.
Yeah.
And I would even say bring in the same like director to do it. Because I think the dude actually had a pretty good thing going.
yeah, well-
But I guarantee you, Jyn Erso was not his idea.
No.
He was told to put,
right.
as South Park put it,
Yeah.
put a chick in it, make her gay.
But yeah, so I mean, Rogue One's easily the best of the Disney, and then I would go Force Awakens.
Well, yeah, but
And then we get into what I call the total suckbag movies. The three horrible, horrible movies. I mean, Solo, which was released in 2018.
yeah, Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah. What's his name? Alden
Yeah.
Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Ehrenreich as Han Solo. Donald Glover as Lando, which was horrible. Woody Harrelson as Tobias Beckett, which he wasn't horrible.
The character was pretty bad. And I love Woody Harrelson, but
Yeah.
he was bad. What's his name? Paul Bettany's in it as the
villain,
the villain mobster guy.
Drayden Voss. I think his name was Drayden Voss. I mean, the background story of Solo and Chewbacca meeting, it was
Stupid.
okay. I didn't mind
Stupid.
it. Everything else, it was just so discombobulated.
That giant snake woman, right? Like he gets captured in the beginning, taken to this giant snake woman who's apparently deathly. So she's a vampire because she's allergic to sunlight, but her chamber has glass in it that you can just break. Okay, thanks. That's awesome writing. There's no way, and I am not a writer at all, but there is no effing way that I would write that down.
Yeah.
And there is no way that I'm like one of the people, like a producer in charge of like proofreading this crap. I would be like, wait a minute, he was able to get out of this by breaking a window? Yeah. What? Why does she have a window? Oh, well, we're like going to paint them black. I'll be like, no, you're going to get rid of them and come up with something decent.
And then you got Lando having a sex robot.
God. That's
What?
as bad as Disney's been.
Yeah.
I actually kind of blocked that
You can't.
stupid character from existence.
What was the robot?
I don't know.
It was his sex robot.
Yeah.
What are you doing? This is Star Wars. So here
That
we go.
was the lowest point in Disney Star Wars was that equal rights robot. I kind of forgot about that. It's not the worst scene in Star Wars, which I have in here somewhere, but the equal rights robot.
So just in the current show Andor season 2, they're all complaining about the modern Star Wars fans who have no clue what Star Wars is.
No.
They're complaining about a sexual assault scene that happened in Andor episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about this.
It wasn't anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
it
also,
wasn't-
they've never had that shit in Star Wars before. And if you're going to put it in Star Wars, okay, it might be able to fly. Not with these stupid creatives.
But it falls in sort of with the way the Andor.
I don't care.
is.
It's stupid.
But what I'm saying is, everybody thought this sex robot was. I'm like, what? You're not complaining about a sex robot, but you're complaining about because Andor is a darker type of series. It's going in how bad the Empire really is, and I mean they're bad. They're bad people.
Yeah.
But
They were Nazis in space. Dave.
yeah.
That's why their uniforms looked just like Nazi uniforms.
I can't say Nazis anymore.
Yahtzees.
Because that's you and I, because we're not on their
Yahtzees.
side.
They were Yahtzees in space.
So, Solo, a Star Wars story, 2018.
Abysmal.
Yeah, it was
Abysmal.
I mean, I give it
And it's easily better than any of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Even The Force Awakens.
What? You think Solo's better than Force Awakens?
Well, yeah, because Solo...
You've never said that, Dave.
Yeah, no, I can't stand the sequel trilogy with a passion because The Force Awakens is followed by The Last Jedi,
That might be
which
true.
is the biggest piece of cinema shit I've ever seen. And then it's followed by The Rise of Palpatine, which is the stupidest ending they could have ever given it. The Solo's kind of detached from that. And for that alone, I'd say it's better.
Okay.
And it's got Woody in it, and it's got Paul Bettany in it, and I like them. And that Aiden Allwright, or whatever his name is, I like him. I couldn't stand. I don't know. Like
He did
it's
what
so
he had
bad.
to do with the role that was given him and the writing that was given him.
Who?
Aiden all
Yeah.
director.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And that Emphas Ness, was that like the leader of the rebellion's name, who then takes off her helmet, and of course she's like a 12-year-old child
Yeah.
with like freckles.
I will still say Force Awakens is better than Solo, but that's no.
You know what though? The Force Awakens gives us Rey. We hate her. Yeah. The Force Awakens gives us, what the hell was his name? The guy who narrated his own death. The Emperor replacement, Snoke. Yeah, Snoke was putrid. It gave us Kylo Ren.
horrible.
He was horrible. It gave us Finn. He was
But
worthless.
Kylo Ren started out as something you could see a
Yeah,
potential
but then
in,
he
and
became terrible. Same thing with Finn. He started off with a potential. Then he became terrible. Plus, his actor's just absolutely deplorable.
Yeah, no,
he's like a Rachel Zegler. He's screw him.
Yeah, and the girl that played Rose, that was a bad character.
Yeah, but I don't blame her.
No,
and in real
it was
life,
all the writing.
she is an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah, but it was all the writing.
But
it was
yeah,
the character
Rose
was
Tico
horrible.
was terrible.
The writing for her role was horrible. So I mean,
The Force Awakens gave us so many more hated characters than Solo. Yeah. Like, I don't hate Paul Bettany's character, whatever you said his name was. I don't hate Woody Harrelson's character. I don't.
I mean, The Force Awakens, you saw this,
It was stupid.
the taking out of Han Solo the way he was taken.
Yeah, They had him die like a bitch. They had the hyper. So,
So you have,
all right. So I started watching 7, 8, and 9, right? Because I knew I had to watch them for this episode, and I was like taking notes, right? So I have like half a page for episode 7. For episode 8, I have an entire front end, well, half of a front end,
geez, you're
like
gonna
all
make
of a
that
back.
quick.
Yeah, I'm not like going to read it all, and just some of the stuff. The stupidest stuff
oh yeah,
from episode 7 was,
oh there was.
the introduction of Han and Chewie was terrible.
See, I didn't
First,
mind it.
they-
I didn't mind it.
No, it was a massive convenience, right? So
Oh, yeah,
these,
yeah.
so like these two idiots just jump into the Millennium Falcon, and then they fly off, and then Han Solo apparently it's been missing for like 30, 40 years. He just happens to like be there as they're taking off. It's space.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening are 1 in like a 1 and like millions of numbers behind it.
Yeah, Ray, who's never been in a spaceship in her life, knows how to fly the Millennium Falcon, how to repair the Millennium Falcon.
Disney has taken a galaxy far, far away and made it like
yeah.
like a small neighborhood far, far away.
Yeah.
The,
No, I agree.
what the hell?
Yeah. I mean,
Also, episode 7, the friggin' light speed where they were able to light speed through a shield, but Han was able to stop it from crossing over the shield, and then maybe 100 miles until you hit the planet going at light speed. Han was able to do that.
not going to happen.
No, that would never happen. And also, the First Order, which I mean, them existing is stupid, and the Resistance, them existing is stupid, because at the end of episode 6, the Empire was basically defeated, and the Rebellion became the Republic.
No.
So they would have been a dominant military force.
Right.
But anyway, First Order has this Starkiller base. They take out the Esnian system or whatever it was.
Was like, what, 8 planets?
Yeah. Nobody does anything. There's no... that would be like somebody setting off a nuke in the middle of like Arkansas and the U.S. just being like, we give up.
Yeah.
No. Whoever did that would be getting absolutely obliterated by the dominant military force, which at the end of episode 6 was established that it was the Republic.
Yeah.
They had no other military. Again, Disney took the galaxy far, far away, made it into the little neighborhood, because they just had all of their stuff like right next to each other, and they just took it all out because they're that stupid.
Han Solo gets killed.
Yeah, Han Solo
They
died.
get off the Millennium Falcon, and Princess Leia doesn't come over to
Chewie.
Chewie. She runs over to Rey, who's only met Han Solo for what, like a couple days.
Days.
It's like,
If that, like, wait, hold on. Wasn't like episode 7 to the end of episode 8 only supposed to be like a week?
yeah, it wasn't very far.
Yeah.
You know, and Princess Leia has been with Chewbacca since Star Wars, the original.
Yes. 1977. She's known this character for a long time.
The story was bad, but now we get into the 2 real suck bags, and that's Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi. I don't have anything good to say about really any of those.
No.
Neither one of those movies.
I
I mean, the Star Wars, The Last Jedi, the treatment of Luke Skywalker,
Mark Hamill
he's gone
has
nuts,
been,
by the way.
Yes, he has gone nuts. But before he went nuts, he was during his press tour for The Last Jedi.
He was.
Was anybody who would put a microphone in front of his face, he was telling them, this is going to be an absolute abomination. Yeah. I don't play Luke Skywalker in this movie. He flat out said, I play a character named Jake Skywalker.
Yeah. What they did to Luke Skywalker, who was the backbone of Star Wars.
Who was the greatest, who was, without question, among the greatest heroes that anybody has ever created in American fiction.
The only good thing Disney ever did with Luke Skywalker was the last episode of season 2 of Mandalorian.
Yep.
Where they showed how powerful Luke Skywalker actually is, not this old disgruntled.
Wouldn't it have been nice to see something like that in episode 8 and 9?
Yeah.
Something like that? No. Instead, we have old man Skywalker just forces himself to death.
Yeah.
At the end of episode 8.
Yeah. The way they did.
Dave, so I'm sure you remember when the first time you saw Star Wars episode 8 was, right?
Where I remember I was.
Yeah, I mean, not like so much where you were, but
and I walked
let me
out
just
of
like
the theater.
How did you feel when you walked out of whatever theater you saw it from? How did you feel?
I can't really say it. So I walked out of episode 8, The Last Jedi, pretty much the way I am right now, putting my hand up my head going, what the hell was that?
And I remember I was walking in and I was like optimistic, even though I had heard bad things. I was like, it can't be that bad. I mean, come on. Like, we are getting Luke Skywalker again. Like, there's going to be something great in this movie. And I remember I went and saw it at the Rutland Theater, which isn't there anymore. And
A travesty that's not there.
yeah,
Should
no.
be.
I went with my youngest sister, and we're walking out. And I remember I was still holding hope up until the end, when all of a sudden Luke just fades away into nothingness. Like I actually went into shock. Like, wait, what? Because I was going, all right, okay, this has been really, really bad, but he's going to do something great in episode 9, right? And then he dies, and I'm like,
everybody that was coming out of the theater all the older, you could tell the older Star Wars fans compared to the younger generation of Star
idiots.
Wars fans that have no clue. You could see these people coming out of the theater just being like, this blank look on their face going, what the hell?
So yeah, so we're walking out, and that just happened, right? And Ray rides off, just like Luke like rode off at the end of The Empire Strikes Back. He's like in the medical frigate, and they're like looking out into like what's like going to happen next. And I like walk out of there, and I really was like this, like kind of like you, just like my head on my, just like my hand on my head, and I'm just like, and Allie goes, so what'd you think? And I'm just, I remember I just said, I don't know. And then I'm like, did that really just happen? Like, is that the Star Wars sequel that we just got? Like,
I mean,
that's what they thought we wanted?
the story
Was the stupidest.
horrible.
It is a spaceship chase in space where the bad guys flat out say they're smaller and they're faster than us, but they can't pull away from us. It would be like a Honda Civic keeping up with a Corvette that's trying to pull away from it on like 1,000 miles straight away
And then we have now a Princess Leia who can fly in space.
and survive in space.
Survive. I mean, she just uses the Force to get back
Leia
to the
Poppins.
ship, which,
The movie starts off with a your mom joke.
yeah, it's
It starts off with a your mom joke, and then there's abysmal bombers.
yeah. I think that's one of the worst parts about those three movies was the humor. The humor was absolutely horrible in all three of them.
No.
The humor they tried to do is horrible.
The worst part, and this is still, I think, the worst scene that I've ever watched. Like, this is the worst scene or editing or whatever.
What you're gonna say?
What am I going to say?
Is this about the whole Sith dagger?
No.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Because that's like the next movie. No,
Okay,
no.
okay.
No. This is a bigger travesty than that.
Okay.
Luke asks, "Where's Han?"
Oh yeah.
And the camera cuts away. We don't even see Luke's reaction to him finding out that his best friend, his brother,
His mentor in a lot of ways.
someone who's always been there for him,
Yeah.
has died.
Yeah.
And that he, because he wanted to go off on Birdshit Island and just disconnect himself, and as he put it, I didn't come to the most unfindable place, but there's a map to it.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's unfindable? I've been trying for 2 days. I found it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Luke. He had
Disney's
two
taken
mentors.
a
He really had.
galaxy and they made
He
it
really had
into
two
a
mentors: Obi-Wan, well, 3, Yoda, and Han Solo in a totally different way. And look at it's just whatever.
just-
yeah, okay.
The best part, The Last Jedi had one scene, and it was the scene in the Millennium Falcon with him and R2. That actually felt like a somewhat Star Wars scene. And it just would have been just another passing scene in a good a good Star Wars movie. This was far and away the best scene in this movie just because it felt like Star Wars. It felt like Luke actually talking to R2-D2.
Yeah. No, the Last Jedi is just a bad story from beginning.
It is.
to end.
You
Horrible
have-
treatment. Horrible treatment of the legacy characters.
You have Snoke narrate his own death.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Rose
kidding me?
and Finn storyline's a mess.
She comes back. She's somehow able to catch up to him on Crate after she turns around and he guns it to go make his suicide charge, which I thought was going to be a really, really good scene. This is going to be a heartfelt scene. Finn has actually found a purpose in life, and he wants to die to try and save the Resistance. It probably won't work, but he's willing to lay down his life to try. And here comes this crazy Asian woman and just smashes into him. I don't know how she caught up to him.
Yeah.
Then they're both sitting there in these 2 wrecked spaceships. The First Order doesn't just blast them like they should have. And then she kisses him as like the blast goes off, destroying the protective door to their base.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you did? You had her kiss him, and in the background is the door blowing open the base that he was just trying to stop from happening.
Yeah, no, Last Jedi is a bad story. And then this to me, people argue back and forth which is worse, Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. They're total suckbags of movies.
They're both shot. soggy shit sandwiches.
So the next is Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, wait a minute. Also, Last Jedi, right? Ray has. This is like what between between 7 and 8. It's supposed to be a few days.
Yeah.
Ray is already super proficient in like use of the Force, and like 2 or 3 days ago, she didn't even know what the damn thing was.
Yeah.
That like would be like finding out that between you and me that like there actually is some sort of way that if you train from childhood, we can actually move things with our mind.
Yeah.
Then we just hear about it, and then 2 days later we're like, I think I got this figured out, and we just start picking up skyscrapers and tossing them.
One thing Disney did is destroy the whole what is the Force. They destroyed that.
They destroyed lightsabers too.
Yeah. We'll get into that in the TV shows.
Yeah. Could you imagine them just having lore accurate lightsabers? That would be cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So
they didn't plan this out.
No.
They just said, hey, listen, we're like going to do a 7, 8, and 9, and you can do 7. We don't really care what you do. You can do 8. You don't even have to really follow anything he did.
But they did
and then we'll have someone else do 9. But then the people that they had chosen to do 9 ended up quitting because they were like, no, you guys are an absolute shit show. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Yeah. And I am not making a movie to follow that piece of shit. Oh, also, we didn't even touch on, and we need to touch on this, episode 8. Dave, there was something we didn't talk about in episode 8.
Go ahead.
Canto Bite. Because this was even something that even the Disney Star Wars faithful couldn't even get behind. It was what, a half hour of cinema that shouldn't even have existed. Yeah. They gave us these. Benicio del Toro is a tremendous actor. If you've never seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, go see Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If you've never seen Sicario, go see Sicario. The man is a brilliant actor. Yeah. They turned him into literally a mumbling, stumbling, stuttering idiot.
It was bad.
Canto Bite is like they've given us Luke, not like reacting to Han's death. They've given us Canto Bite, which is the anti-capitalist scene. They've given us, I forget the sex bot's name, but they gave us the sex bot. Yeah, they gave us Pando in space.
Yeah. I tried to forget the name of the sex robot.
I don't even know its name. Yeah. It was voiced by that same woman who did what was her name? Amanda Waller?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that even her real name, or was that the character in the Indiana Jones movie? Name. Yeah. They gave us her.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
just... What the hell? Yeah. This is what you get. You get this, and you get Rings of Power. That is what you get when you take some of the most beloved IPs and you give them to a bunch of woke activists who are talentless.
Yeah. All right, we're going to push it along here.
I don't want to.
Because you're going to keep going.
Can I go?
So the next one is Star Wars Rise of Skywalker 2019. Totally uncohesive crap story.
So, like I said, I had my episode 7 notes. I have my episode 8 notes, which are just too numerous to read. And I stopped making these notes because I stopped caring. And my whole thing was I was going to do episode 9 and watch that too and like take notes. I didn't care. Yeah. Like I did watch it, but I just kind of watched it with like my arms crossed just to get through it. It was like me watching the Acolyte. I just need to get through this.
Yeah, the Death Star that blows up years prior just happens. They find it and they happen to go on it, and guess what? The doors still work. How the hell does the door still work?
Dave, how did they find the Death Star?
Yeah,
they get. We have Force FedEx. They're at this stupid carnival that happens once every, like 40 years. Yeah. It just happens to be going on the day that it's a galaxy far, far away, and they've turned it into this little tiny friggin' neighborhood, okay?
The whole Sith dagger outline just happens to fit the...
How did they find the dagger, Dave? They were running from the First Order, who, guess what? They fly now, and then they happen to shoot them, and they go flying into a quicksand pit, and then that just happens to bring them down to the dagger. Yeah.
Like I said,
and how do they get out of there? There's a giant, stupid space snake that she heals, and because she heals it, it slithers away and it knocks over some rocks, and they're able to get out. This is horrible video game writing.
Yeah, it's totally. it's just a crap story. It's from beginning to end. The whole Palpatine thing, Rey taking the name of the Skywalkers at the end when she clearly is a Palpatine.
Palpatine won. They made it so that the bad guy from the first 6 movies won. The last Skywalker dies.
Kylo Ren is a crying ass little bitch in the movie. Daisy Ridley or Rey, she's just bad. You could I don't know.
Rey Sue.
Yeah,
She's horrible.
those 2 movies, Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, are some of the worst storytelling in a lot of movies. Not just here. I mean, it goes with just bad
Oh
storytelling.
yeah.
And they totally destroyed the legacy of Star Wars.
I will never watch 7, 8, 9 again. I've
No,
watched them all once. I've watched 7. I think I watched 7 3 times because I think I rewatched it before I went and saw 8. This is my second time watching 8, and this is my first and only ever time watching 9. I will never ever watch them again. I've seen them.
And
They were terrible.
And before we get kicked out of the studio, we'll just run over the TV shows real quick. You have what else you got to talk about?
It's.
I mean, it's just.
I
crap
mean, is
stories.
that all that we're going to talk about with 9? It was just.
It was just a bad story.
We had the
from
friggin-
beginning to end.
We had the like horses in space. They were built on a planet. I don't remember the name of the planet. The like stupid Sith planet, right?
Yeah.
And then they all come up from the ice, right? They were all underneath these like sheets of ice, and they all raise up from the ice. Okay, cool. There's like what 2,000 of them,
Yeah.
right? What is their plan to get in there and attack them? They have to go take out a single transponder because they don't know how to go up. And my whole thing is, this could easily be avoided if just on every ship you had one single stormtrooper standing there holding a red balloon.
Let it go.
And follow the balloon. That's it.
Yeah,
that was what I thought during this whole thing.
without
Is
this transponder-
one guy there holding a balloon so that they know
Yeah.
just go whichever way that the balloon is facing.
They didn't know how to go up.
They don't know how to go up.
Those lines,
That's
I'm
what
like,
these idiots came up with. That is why whoever buys Star Wars in however many years until Disney finally goes under, and I hope that Disney does. I hope that they redo the original trilogy and they give it a $6 billion budget
because
each movie.
Because
it's just going to hasten their demise. They can't go up, Dave, and then horsies on Star Destroyers. If there was a horsey on my Star Destroyer and it was a threat, I'd go, all right, just tilt.
Yeah. But
Do you know how to tilt? Where's the balloon guy? Which way's up? Which way do we tilt?
it's just all bad story. I mean, it's horrible story.
It's
even the
horrible.
worst prequel, which is Attack of the Clones,
Yes, easily.
blows
away. I will happily watch Attack of the Clones again. It had a lot going for it.
Yeah.
It gave us that battle in Geonosis. That by itself is worth it. It gave us Boba Fett versus Obi-Wan.
But
It had a lot of shit going for it. It had its problems, yes.
It is the worst of
the six.
the first 6.
It is the worst of the first 6, yes.
But it's so much
It's
better.
so much. I will happily watch that again. I know I'm going to watch it again.
So no,
I will watch 1. I'll watch 2. All 6 movies are on right here.
yeah, and I will not give up on Star Wars because I'm such a diehard fan. I want it to succeed, but it's just not because we're going to go into the TV series now.
It's not going to succeed
I mean,
until somebody takes it from Disney.
I mean, so we get into the TV series. I know you haven't seen Rebels.
Yeah, I mean,
Rebels is excellent.
I've seen clips from Rebels. It looks fine.
Yeah, Rebels
And
is
there's a
excellent.
few on here that might actually be good, like the 2 Andor seasons. And
Resistance. I only saw a little bit of that. Didn't much care for it.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, Mandalorian.
Okay, you know how I feel about the Mandalorian. First season was fine.
Yeah.
Not great, but it was fine. It was good. Second season, first 4 episodes were abysmal. They were so bad.
And
they were they were video game fetch quests.
But
And then the last 4 episodes was like, man, it got really good. Like it went from really bad to really damn good. And then that ending where we actually finally saw Luke Skywalker, I still watch that sometimes.
just because it shows you how powerful Luke
because
Skywalker is.
because it was fun,
Yeah, and then came season 3.
which I didn't even watch.
It is so bad.
So I didn't watch Rebels. I didn't watch Resistance. Book of Boba Fett, didn't watch that.
Book of Boba Fett started out okay, and then we got into just you could tell they were throwing the DEI crap in there with the Rainbow Gang,
Oh yeah,
that sort of stuff. It was just bad. Bad Batch,
that's just
animated
all
series.
about clone troopers, right?
yeah, Bad Batch.
Clone like special forces.
Right. And they don't
That could
all,
be pretty good.
It's excellent. It is probably the best thing Star Wars has done in TV. Then came Obi-Wan.
Oh my! You mean the Reva show,
Yeah.
where lightsabers are just flashlights?
I enjoy certain parts of
don't.
Obi-Wan. A couple scenes with Darth Vader, I really enjoyed.
Leia running from those bounty hunters, from those scary bounty hunters, and they can't catch a friggin' toddler. Are you kidding me?
No, there were some really good scenes with.
Whoever they
Darth
cast
Vader.
to play, what the hell was her name? Revan?
Yeah.
She was horrible. Moses Ingram. That was her
Moses
name.
Ingram.
She was
horrible.
horrible
Another
actress.
one of these actresses that came out and blamed the fans.
Yeah, well,
Then we go to Andor, which
Andor could be good
Andor
because
season
it's
one
leading up to
was-
Rogue One.
Yeah, Andor season 1 is
Don't care.
excellent. Andor season 2 so far is pretty good. And you can definitely see it's going to end up at Rogue One, the beginning of Rogue One, which was great. Ahsoka,
No, you skip. Oh yeah, no. Yep, you're right. Ahsoka's next.
Ahsoka's next, right?
Yep.
Ray Stevenson was by far the best part of that movie. And the late Ray Stevenson. This is the first time the second time we saw that lightsabers no longer kill you.
Yep.
You get stabbed by a lightsaber, you walk away.
Reva was stabbed like a bunch, like once as a kid, and then like again as an adult. She's fine.
And Darth Vader's not just going to do this to you. He's going to cut you in half.
Yeah. So I remember back when Star Wars was great, they would come out with comic books and they would come out with
Dark Horse.
novels. Yeah. And they showed like Darth Vader going up against a group of rogue, or not like really rogue, but a group of Jedi. He was dismembering them.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He was killing them.
Yeah, I mean,
He was taking off limbs.
yeah. That's the good part of the end of Rogue One, where he's in that hallway
He
scene.
had a lore accurate lightsaber.
Yeah,
He did
I
not
mean-
have a Disney nerfed one.
He's destroying these rebel soldiers. But then we get to, Obi-Wan. You can get stabbed by him. Then we go to Ahsoka. Again, we see people stabbed by a lightsaber. It doesn't kill them. And
Didn't watch it.
Best part was, it was good that they brought in Thrawn. So,
Yeah,
Thrawn's-
but they didn't bring in a lore accurate Thrawn. They didn't bring in that intimidating presence that Thrawn. He wasn't.
I didn't mind
If you
Thrawn.
saw Thrawn in some of the video games,
right.
he
He
was
definitely was.
and in some of the books,
Yeah, no, the Dark Horse
he
comics
was
with
a
Thrawn is-
badass.
yeah. He
the
was
Disney
okay.
version of Thrawn.
Yeah, he was okay.
No, it shouldn't have been okay. It should have been awesome.
I agree.
It should have been awesome.
Yep, I agree. He was okay for the show because the show was not that good, except for the flashback scenes where you're seeing Ahsoka have flashbacks of Vader and Anakin becoming Anakin Vader with the walkway scene.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I watched it. It was,
I thought it was cool. And then we get into the biggest shit show that Star
hold
Wars
on.
was put.
First, there was Skeleton Crew, which I've never heard.
I watched
heard
the-
of.
I
Tales of
watched
the Jedi, Tales of the Empire.
Never seen those two.
Never heard of them.
Yeah.
And then we get the Acolyte, which you still see articles from these idiot journalistic websites that say how much the Disney fans are outraged and how upset we are that it's not getting a second season. There is not a real Disney fan who, one, watched that show and liked it,
Yeah.
or two, even gave that show the time of day. Because the only reason I gave it the time of day was for this. And it was horrible. It was a chore to get through. It was, like I said, I have never, ever in my life paused the show more to see how many more friggin' minutes I have to endure this piece of crap.
Oh yeah, that was bad. So that was our rant of the Disney Star Wars. We could go on for hours, but we tried to put it into less than an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I had more here,
yeah.
but we've been in here almost an hour, and
so-
the gods are
Yeah,
restless.
it's just a matter of time before we hear this. Time to go. So, I hope you enjoy that. However, watch the movies, and see for yourself which ones are good, which ones are
Go
bad.
sailing on the internet and watch the movies. Don't sign up for Disney Plus.
Right. Go back and watch the originals, the prequels, and then watch this
Borrow
modern-
someone's account that's already given them
then
money.
watch some of this modern crap.
Go watch when this released back in, I think it was like 2009 or 2010, might have been 2011. hold on. 2011 is when this released. I remember going to my movie stop. It was packed. People could not wait for the complete saga, all 6 movies on one Blu-ray collection. It was absolutely packed, and everybody was there to pick up their copy that they had to pre-order, because unless you pre-ordered it, you weren't getting it.
Yeah.
And I
does that
promise
now.
you, when the Star Wars saga released, you would have had no issues getting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You would have had to wait a couple weeks before you'd actually see this in a store for you to buy.
So our next episode, Dave came up with this today.
Oh.
It's going to be we're going to pick 15 actors.
Yep.
And those 15 actors, you have to pick one movie from those actors, each actor, one movie of theirs in their whole catalog of movies of what one you should watch for that specific actor. Which actually, that's going to be tough on a couple of the guys we're going to choose. We'll choose those over the next week or so and do that. So
Remember in the first Star Wars, before they even called it A New Hope, Han Solo talks about how jumping into hyperspace isn't something that you can just do.
Oh yeah, well,
And then, but episode 9, we have light speed skipping or something,
it's called progress.
and then we have him just being able to stop between a shield and a planet. Like,
Dave, it's called progress. It's just like progress, man.
I'm sorry, if you are a progressive, you are preaching regressive shit, and it shows in all of your entertainment.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying it. It's all losing money.
Yeah. So again, our next episode will be 15 actors, actresses, and we have to pick one movie per actor, actress that we think everybody should watch out of their catalog. Correct?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay. So with that being said, you got anything else to say before we close up?
Yeah, Disney, redo the original trilogy. Give it a $6 billion budget each. Please do something to hasten your demise. We are tired of your existence. We thank you for the better creators that came before you and actually gave us good stuff. But the people running you now are a bunch of jokes.
Yeah. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good day. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be here the 14th.
So we'll see you in a couple weeks, and enjoy your time. Have good weather out there. It's supposed to be nice.
And may the 4th be with you.
That's right.
Good night.